okay, we'll start with a quick revision, and then we'll quickly try and move to A levels organic. So A levels organic is more about benzene. So lekin, because everything is interlinked. So first thing is we would have to do remember organic. Don't think of it as AS and A levels separately. Organic में ये कि it's just you have to always consider it together. ठीक है? It's all the organic is going to be completely interlinked. The questions are going to be interlinked. They will have AS parts and it's going to have A levels parts. ठीक है? So I'm going to do a very quick recap of AS organic up till alkenes, and then we'll switch over to our A levels. So पहले तो first thing we'll start off with the formulas. ठीक है? So remember there are three types of formulas. One is, I mean, you've got different types of structural formulas. I'm going to assume that you obviously gave your AS exam, so I'm not going to go into detail with any of these things. So the first one is a fully displayed formula. You should know what a fully displayed formula is. So क्या होता है? It's you show all atoms and bonds. So for example, I've got a molecule and the molecule has which every single bond is going to be shown. It's got NH2. So it's got a carboxylic acid. And it has, let's say, a CH3 branch. And I'm just completing the bonds. There's H. Let's say there's an aldehyde over here as well. And there's an H. Okay, that's the first thing. The second type of formula is, this is a fully displayed formula. The second type of formula is the condensed structural formula. तो दोनों में फर्क ये है कि you in the first one you show all the atoms and bonds. In the condensed formula, you're still showing the structure, but you're running out of space. So as you go from, for example, if I draw the condensed formula for the first one, I just go from one side and I just keep writing whatever appears on this side. So aldehydes are written as CHO. Okay, so you've got CHO, that's the first part. ये वाला part, that's CHO. Then you have CH. Okay, so you've got CH. And that CH has a branch which is NH2. Anything appearing as a branch would be written in brackets. Then after that, there's another CH. And it's got OH, which is going to be written in brackets. Then you have another CH, and then you have CH3. And then finally, you have carboxylic acid. Okay, so this is your condensed structural formula. Okay, the third type is, that is your skeletal formula. So that's the third type, skeletal formulas. उसमें क्या होता है कि you don't, I mean, you should know what happens in it. No atoms, at least carbon and H, are shown. No CH bonds are shown. So the only thing that is shown is the rest of the stuff. You show the functional group. So if you look at this molecule, it's got how many carbons? It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbon atoms in a straight line. Okay, so a straight line in skeletal formula is going to be like this. That's 1, 2, 3, 3 क्यों नहीं हुआ? अच्छा 1 2, that's the third carbon atom, that's the fourth, and then you have the fifth carbon atom. All these points or nodes are carbon atoms. Okay, so you have 5 carbon atoms in a straight line, and I think if you look over here on the fourth one, we're top here on the fourth one, there's another carbon atom which is appearing over here. So on the fourth one, there's another carbon atom. So I've drawn that. And then I'm going to start adding the functional groups, and I'm going to write the functional groups. So on the first one, there's an aldehyde. So we just write O. That's the first one. इसको साथ साथ कर लेते हैं. Then on the second one, there's the NH2. So we need to write the NH2. On the third one, there's an OH. Okay, fourth with is CH3. Yeah, that's and then you've got a carboxylic acid that's going to be. So that's going to be your double bond O and OH. ठीक है, तो ये there are 3 types of formulas. Hala, Isaac, Ibrahim, Minal, is this clear? ये 3 types of formulas,
Yes.
is that?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, उसके बाद, so I'm not going to go into details. ठीक है, you should know what this is. We're going to do naming quickly. Naming ही था ना, उसके बाद और क्या था? Naming and functional groups quickly, especially the AS ones. So first thing, functional groups. And for all of them, I'm not going to go into details. Okay, number one, that's alkanes. Okay, the suffix is going to be ane. Normally, the general formula is CnH2n plus 2. These are known as saturated what hydrocarbons, right? Okay, so the suffix is ane. They'll end with ane. So that's the first one. And I'm just going to draw a random alkane. And I'm drawing the fully displayed formula. So remember, the general formulas, mostly they don't work, okay, especially for complicated molecules. That's the second one, that's alkenes. So for alkenes, the suffix is going to be E. And the general formula is going to be CnH2n. And they'll be called unsaturated. Hydrocarbons. That's okay, this one is going to be called propane. Counting, let's think, what's the counting in organic? It's meth, eth, prop, bute, pent, hex. के बाद क्या आता है? Hept. Then you've got oct, you've got non, and you've got dec. ठीक है, ये 10 ही है ना, 5 5 10. हाँ. अच्छा, so coming back to alkenes. So how do you name alkenes? The suffix is going to be -ene. So for example, I've got a molecule. ठीक है, 3. So this one is going to be called propene. But you have to number for one, you don't actually have to number it, but you can number it. It's going to be called propanine. You're going to count from the side that gives the smaller numbers. Some molecules will have more than one double bonds. So if you have a molecule and it's got this one will have two H's. So this one has 6 carbon atoms, so its name should be hex. It is obviously an ene because it's an alkene, it's got double bonds, but there are 2 double bonds, so you're going to call it diene, and you have to give the position. So one of them is on the first one, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. The counting is done from the side that's going to give the smaller numbers, so it's going to be 1 and 4. The position is going to be mentioned over here. So die is the number of double bonds and 1, 4 is the position of each one of those double bonds. Okay. So alkenes clear है? Clear है कि नहीं clear?
Yes.
But
Yes, sir.
remember, जब भी एक double bond add करते हो ना, तो हर दफा 2 H's get removed. Reduces the number of H atoms by 2. So if you add 5 double bonds to a molecule, the number of H's will उसके 10 कम होंगे compared to the formula. As a third one, we're going to do alcohols. Alcohols is alcohols will be, the suffix will be all, and the general formula would be CnH2n plus 1, which mostly it's not really important, the general formula. The functional group is going to be the OH functional group, obviously. So एक आधा example कर लेते हैं. I've got a molecule and it's got OH. So the name of this molecule would be prop. 3 carbon atoms. AN indicates whether it's saturated or not saturated, and it's going to be all, but it's going to be 2 all because the OH is on the second carbon atom. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. You remember this? AN represents whether it's saturated or unsaturated. So, for example, if I have another molecule, this time it has 4 carbon atoms, but it's got a double bond and it's got more than one OH groups, multiple OH groups. Bonds pure ke nahi pure? I think it is complete. So this is 4 carbon atoms, so it's going to be called but. Instead of AN, it's going to be called EN. And it's going to be called all, except that it's going to be called triol because it's got 3 OH groups. So it's going to be called triol. Alkene, there's only one of them, so I have to mention the position of each one of the OH groups. So it's going to be 1, 2. The counting is done to give the small number, so it's going to be 1, 2, and 4. I'm going to count from the. So it's going to be 1, 2, 4 triol, and ene, you have to give the position of the double bond as well. That's on the second one. Okay, so it's butanol instead of butanol. and it's going to be triol because there are three OH groups, and it's got the positions are 1, 2, and 4, and the double bond position is at number 2. You clear it?
Yes.
अच्छा, fourth one. क्या था और? You have carbonyl compounds. So carbonyl compounds are basically the first one is part A is let's do aldehydes. अच्छा, aldehydes क्या होते हैं? They have अच्छा, their suffix will be al. Their और क्या होता है? Their function, I mean, it's basically C double bond O at the end. Okay, and the general formula is going to be CnH2n. अच्छा, so aldehyde भी इसी तरह you've got so this one is going to be called propanol. So what if it has a double bond? So this one would be called but. AN की बजाय it's going to be EN. Okay, it's not going to be AN. And it's an aldehyde, so it's going to be al. Aldehyde normally usually is position number 1. I'm going to talk about counting later on. So the double bond is at position number 2. And the aldehyde is at position number 1, which you don't really have to mention. It's मतलब 1 आप mention नहीं करते. कर दिया तो कोई मसला नहीं है, लेकिन normally नहीं करते. So you've got ketones. What are ketones? It's going to be, the suffix is going to be on, and your double bond O would be in the middle of the chain, and the general formula would be exactly the same. Okay, that's what your ketone is, and so this one is going to be butane 2-on. AN इसलिए लगाया क्योंकि it's saturated, and it's you're gonna try and give the smaller number to ketones. It's okay. After that, it's number 5. So number 5 is carboxylic acid. So the वो क्या होता है? It's oleic acid basically, and so it's RC double bond ONOH, right? तो इसका खैर पता ही है कि so if I put a double bond somewhere, it's going to be, it should be butanoic acid, but now it's going to be butanoic acid. और डबल बॉन्ड किस पे? सेकेंड वाले पे. ठीक है, एक आध का जो लेस इंपॉर्टेंट है, एमाइंस। अच्छा, amines are basically just amines. It's RNH2. And if something has NH2, बाकी सारे H's हैं. So this one would be called, it's just butane and just amine. So butane 1M. I mean, this one would just be called, it can also be called butylamine. बल्कि मेरे ख्याल से जो IUPAC है ना, IUPAC वो butyl है. इसका बल्कि एक सेकंड है, IUPAC वाला amines का एग्जैक्ट देख लेते हैं. दोनों ही चल रहा है एक्चुअली, ब्यूटेनामाइन भी कह सकते हो, ब्यूटाइलामाइन भी. अ, बस एक सेकंड है. अच्छा, दोनों ही चल रहे हैं, लेकिन ये वाला इस वाले को फॉलो कर लो. ऑल्दो ये इतना कोई इंपॉर्टेंट चीज नहीं है. ब्यूटेन 1 एमाइन, उसमें नंबरिंग एक्सेट्रा दैट्स गोना बी इजी, जो हमने पहले किया था. If the amine is on the second carbon atom, you're just going to call it butane 2 amine. ठीक है, amine की position, you have to tell the position of the amine group. I said number 7 is that you've got nitriles. वो क्या होते हैं, वो are, so if you have a molecule which has this CN, you're just going to call it ethane nitrile. ठीक है, तो चलो ये खैर, we're done with the basic compounds and the naming. There are obviously some more compounds left, which we're going to do later on as well. अच्छा, लेकिन अब थोड़ा सा complex naming, ठीक है, complex molecules, branch, etc. Now, for complex molecules, you've got to remember one thing, that if a molecule is complex and it's branched, it's going to be, these are the parts of the molecule. There's going to be position, there's going to be branches, the position of the branches, and then the branches themselves, and then there's going to be, you're gonna name the main chain. I'd say in simplest way, I mean, it's the main chain is like a complicated thing, but we're going to keep it very, very simple, and that is it's the longest continuous carbon atom chain. Uh, और उसकी ना कुछ requirements है, that it should have the main, should have the highest precedence group on it. It should have the maximum substituent groups. And most things must be in simple words. उसके अंदर ना फंक्शनल, सबसे मेन फंक्शनल ग्रुप उसमें होना चाहिए, और प्लस उसके जो भी ग्रुप्स है ना सबसे ज्यादा उस पर अटैच होने चाहिए. Should have the maximum double bonds. etc. That's a main chain. The rest would all be branches. ठीक है. Uh, Branches में कि Cl would be called a chlorobranch. If its PR is bromo. I जो है that's going to be iodo. Alkyl branches would obviously end with -yl, like methyl, ethyl. तो उसकी example में methyl. अच्छा और क्या कि you would want the OH, if it's a branch, it's going to be called the hydroxy branch. The amine, if it's a branch, it's going to be called the amino branch. That's a ketone. If it's a branch or an aldehyde, if it's a branch, it's going to be called uh, अच्छा aldehyde को तो वो mild कहेंगे, and ketone is called oxo. ठीक है. अगर आप if you're not naming it uh, based on the aldehyde or ketone, and if they're considered branches, uh, or if they're not the suffix, then these are the words that are going to be used. Position का rule है. Position is the highest. Numbering is done to give the smaller number to the highest precedence group. Smaller number to the highest precedence groups. उसका मतलब ये कि there's a precedence order, and in that precedence order, the carboxylic acid is always given the smaller number. Then you forget the rest. You have to number it accordingly so that carboxylic acid gets the smaller number. Then you've got aldehydes. Then you've got ketones. ये तो हमें check भी कर लूंगा. The fourth is you've got hydroxy groups, the alcohol groups, and the fifth is amine. Hydroxy, which I'm going to call it alcohol. So एक दफा let me just double check this. Precedence order. Again, that's going to be very detailed. Carboxylic acid and its derivatives. Sorry, the nitriles भी बीच में आ जाता है. But nitriles are, I mean, let's put in the nitriles as well. There's going to be फिर दोबारा तो नहीं लिखना पड़ेगा. Aldehydes, ketones, alcohols, amines. Number 6, alkenes. I mean, the rest are the least important. So you've got alkenes, then I guess nothing else. ठीक है. Top polycetalet. So remember, carboxylic acids are the most important group. So I'm going to give an example, and we're going to try and name this molecule. If I have carboxylic acid and the two carbon chain, there's an OH. There's a ketone in this as well. ठीक है. Then there's a बस ठीक है, काफी है. बल्कि let me add an NH2 as well. And let's add another methyl group. Now, the longest chain in this molecule is this one. And carboxylic acid is the highest presence group. So everything has to be named after that. It's 1, 2, 3, 6. So the molecule is going to be called hexanoic acid. The main chain is not only the longest chain, it's got to have the highest presence group in it. Double bond डालने की जगह कोई नहीं है ऐसे. अच्छा, the rest would all be now considered branches. So what are the rest? You've got lots of things. You've got a methyl group. You've got an ethyl group. You've got an OH group. You've got an amine, and you have a ketone as well. So ketone BS. So you've got lots of things. This is your oxo. This is your hydroxy. This is your amino. This is ethyl. And this is methyl. The main functional group has to be given the smallest number, which is carboxylic acid. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And everything has to be written alphabetically. So it's 2 amino. Amino के बाद A के बाद क्या आएगा? It's going to be E. So 3 ethyl. And after that, it's going to be, I think, H. So 4 hydroxy. And 5 oxo. बस काफी है मेरे ख्याल से. I think that's the name. चलो ये clear है ये चीज. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
तो ठीक है, थोड़ी सी और नेमिंग वगैरह कर लेंगे और एक दो और. Not going to go into that much detail, and then we'll just move on. ठीक है, alkenes पे we'll start with A levels. ठीक है, तो चलो ठीक है.
Okay, sir.
Okay, love this.
No.